On today's episode of Real Hoop Hours, we are starting off the show with a new segment called The Good, the Better, and the Room for Improvement. We're doing point guards today in the NBA. But after that, we got Team of the Week, and then we're jumping into Real Hoop Hours where we'll be asking, is the NBA getting boring? Is it boring? Great discussion there. Really enjoyed this one. Then, of course, we have therapy. Me and him got some things we need to get off of our chests. After that, our starting 5 drafts of rookies and sophomores in the NBA. And then, of course, we end the show with our extremely specific NBA trivia. And I had a heart attack during that segment. But we got to get to the show. You're here. Let's ride.
Welcome back, guys. Real Hoop Hours podcast. Nick, how you doing today, sir?
Living the dream. Repping my 2 teams here. The top of mind teams right now. That and the North Carolina State Wolfpack as well. It's tough to be a Wolfpack fan these days. Bill Belichick.
I'm not repping a soul personally. I just put on some random jacket that I had in the closet.
That thing's hard. I like that.
Yeah, but I say appreciate it. It was expensive, so I hope it was. But I'm just happy to get back to another episode. Not gonna lie to you.
Me too, man. Me too.
And I will say, forget it. Let me just lead us in because we have a good segment for Good Morning NBA.
Take the reins.
Good Morning NBA today.
He must take the wheel.
Will be a new segment that we will actually going to try out called The Good, the Better, and Room for Improvement, because we will not be on this podcast trying to be negative for no reason. So
it's off the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's our version of it, but
very much.
We are. Hey, if a basketball podcast is just saying that NBA players are bad, they're probably not that smart.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
It's
good. It's okay to say the guy had a bad game. He's having a rough year, having a bad year, but he's not bad. He's not bad. Killian Hayes is not bad at basketball. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I know that for sure. I've seen him do some moves, so I'm like, I would have been on the other side of the court, but at least we know this. But Nick, I'll let you start off with the good for today.
Yeah, so for the good, and by the way, sorry, this is the good, the better, and room for improvement point guards edition. So we're talking about some point guards. That's right. So for the good, I want to talk about Davion Mitchell. And for those of you who follow me on social media, I did a video talking about Davion's defense, and goodness gracious, he is 6'1" Drew Holiday. And it's impressive to me.
His hands, man.
Hand speed, foot speed, instincts as well. Instincts is the biggest thing. And it's so impressive to me when a guy who has, by NBA standards, none of the physical tools to be successful defensively. And he is so successful defensively. Not only is he not like a minus, like Trae Young is 6'1", 6'2"-ish, right?
He's 6'2". Last time I checked, I thought he was 6 foot, but he's a little taller than that.
Yeah, he's a little taller.
Like 6'2".
Probably like 6'1" without shoes, 6'2" with shoes. Davion Mitchell is like a 6'1", 6'2", like legit as well. And Trae has been he's been putting in effort on the defensive end. I've seen some clips lately. But to not like only because the guys that size are just trying, or that size are trying not to be a minus on the defensive end. They're just trying to be serviceable. Davion is so much of a plus that even through his offensive inefficiencies, which this year that has been the case, he has been struggling to be super efficient shooting the ball. But he's a good decision maker on that end, and also is such a plus on the defensive side that they're like, we're not taking this guy off the floor. Like he plays a lot. He plays like 20-ish minutes a game, man, as a backup.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to watch. He's a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah. I main thing I always say about Davion Mitchell is that I noticed this from Baylor is that his chest strength is probably what sets him apart as a defender, because the second you try to make contact with him, he chests up and dudes are not going through him.
Yeah, and that's core too. That's core as well, man.
That's crazy core strength. Like, I'm talking dudes that are like 6'6", weigh like probably another 30, 40 pounds of them. Cannot go through him. And that to me is crazily impressive. Yeah. As a bigger dude, as a guard that tries to guard bigger dudes, yes, when I have the weight on my body, I can. But literally just doing that through technique, that's like that like that's why I look at Davion Mitchell. I'm like, that's insane that he does this consistently at 6'1", 6'2" in the NBA. Like, that's insane level defense.
Yeah, man. Shout out Davion. He is the good. The better is Trae Young. It's funny I mentioned Trae. He's just on the mind, but also someone who hasn't been super efficient for what we expect from Trae Young. I'm not really worried about that. Like, it will come. We're early in the season. Starting the season with a slump is always tough. But he is entering like Jokic zone with his decision making. He is the like supercomputer brain point guard right now, where he's constantly calculating, okay, what's going to be the highest percentage look, and he just does that. And having a better team around him helps for sure. But
yeah, one of the things about his game in general is that it's not fit to be efficient. And that's one of the things that I've always tried to get through to people about Trae Young, is that when you're handling the ball as much as him, and then you're making as many decisions as he is, like, there's gonna be games where he's just not gonna be good because he's making so many decisions every single game that if he's not on the ball, it's gonna be bad. But when he is on the ball and when he is ready to play basketball, there's nothing you can do.
No,
like,
when he's
genuinely
on,
is so good.
Yeah, and like, I mean, this is worth saying, leading the NBA in assists right now.
At like 12, right?
12 point. It was 12.2. I think it's 12.1 now. But
yeah, stats hasn't been insane in the NBA.
No, his efficiency, like shooting almost 39% from the field. That's tough from a volume guy. But
yeah, as that
excuse me, taking less shots altogether. And that comes from like, hey, he's got a better team around him. And I think Quinn Snyder probably had the conversation of like, hey, you don't need to shoot the ball like 20 times a game for us to win.
And disclaimer on this podcast, we will always advocate for a player that had more assists and shoot the ball less. We will
100%.
always advocate. We'll never go the other way. We will always advocate for what Trae Young is doing right now.
And that ties into something we've talked about before, beautiful. Which is like, can you win a championship with the crazy high usage guy? And it's like, we have to ask that question. You know what we don't have to ask? Can you win a championship with, like 2 or 3 guys that take the majority of the shots and then like good role players who can chip in here and there? It's like, that is the formula.
Yeah. That's how you want to do it.
That's how you do it. It's not like, hey, we're like James Harden ball, Luka ball, Russell Westbrook ball. It's like, it's fun. It's cool. It sells tickets. And it's really a shame that I think the NBA seems to be gravitating toward that because they want to make more money. But like owners they're just fine with doing that. But it's cool to see a guy who was that start stepping toward Jokic ball. I'll just call it that for lack of a better term. But it's got to be a tough transition, and I would assume that's why his percentages are down, because it's you're in the mindset of I can do no wrong because our team will ride or die, win or lose by me. To like, okay, I got to make the right decisions. I got to be a little more conservative with my shots and what I can and can't do. I don't have the neon green light anymore.
Yeah, what's tough about it, also what's extremely tough about it, is that now you have to move a half step slower. And for everybody that's played basketball understands how hard that is. When you have to go from when like you come off a pick and you're ready to go down the hill. Before, when you got the neon green light, you just go. And if you see something, then they're like, all right, cool. But now when you have to be the main decision maker and you have a good team around you, if you try to go downhill and you miss an opportunity, that's a problem now because you missed the opportunity for a good player that would have done something with that opportunity. Versus before, it was like these dudes aren't really going to help you that much. You need to just go ahead and shoot. And that's where I say it's like that half a step that you have to pull back, that changes a ton for a point guard. So and that's why I appreciate how he's gone from like a 28 point per game to like a 21 up his assist. Yes, efficiency is going to be down because he's almost learning a new brand of basketball. And that's why we have to acknowledge that this is such a good transition for Trae Young. And
his team is winning.
I got to give it to him. And his team is winning.
And the Hawks are playing better.
Teams.
You know, I said something about that in one of my videos, and someone's like, oh, like calm down. They're like 14-12. I'm like, yeah, they were a lottery team last year. They had the number 1 pick in the draft. And now they're above 500. Like they got great. One player. They got one player. That's it. They got one more guy. And I guess they added Dyson Daniels too, who has been a huge part of them
like
being
crazily good defense.
Yeah, dude. When you can put DeAndre Hunter on the second best like wing/forward defensively, it's like, oh my gosh.
You got some defenders.
And Jalen Johnson. I mean, dude,
isn't he like 20 point per game now? Like 20 point per game.
Oh, he's a guy. He's a bona fide dude. It isn't like, oh, he's young. He's like, no, it's like, nah, he's just a guy now. Like he is like Jalen Williams was like that first year when he like got to that 20 points per game range and started to look like a bona fide 2-way dude and not just like a 3-and-D guy. Like, nah, like Jalen Johnson is like, they're going to be running sets for him often. They're going to start running. And I don't know if he's the playmaker that Trae is. And I think it's like the Thunder run the same sets for Jalen Williams that they do when for Shea when he's on the floor. But like, I don't know if you can do that with Jalen Johnson and Trae, but yeah, Jalen Johnson's a dude. Yeah. DeAndre Hunter's having his best year ever. Volume and efficiency. Bogey is bogey.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a good basketball team. Like this is like good. The thing, and this is probably what Quinn Snyder's always wanted, and just they didn't allow him to do it. And now he's just like, hey, now I have just dudes on his court just playing good basketball. At the end of the day, that's what I need. And this is like I've got to give it to him. Beautiful stuff. But I do actually want to transition this into the room for improvement part.
Go ahead.
Because great that Trae Young is transitioning, but we also need Scoot Henderson to transition to another part of it.
I love Scoot too. Oh man, I'm still a big Scoot guy. I still think he's going to be good, or he's going to be better rather. But I think it might look like on paper he's taking a step back, but he's kind of stayed steady. His minutes have just gone down, so numbers have gone down a tick. And some of the numbers haven't even gone down as much as they should have with his cut in minutes. Like, so that's a step forward, but man, that's just so much incredible basketball and athletic ability that it just has to translate. But you seem passionate about this one. So what do you think? Like, he's got room for improvement. Where do you see that? Is that decision making? Is it he needs to add something to his game? Because obviously there's a few things to choose from there.
I think adding to his game. When it comes to his decision making, a lot of people have talked about that Scoot realistically is a very like 1 to 2 read player, kind of like how they would talk about Justin Fields in the NFL, right? Where he sees one read and then he's like, okay, let me just go get a bucket now. And a lot of times that leads to him just running into traffic. And that is a problem. I get that. But one thing about Scoot Henderson is that he's weirdly confident in the way that he's not shooting immediately as he sees a look, right? He'll shoot the ball, but it looks like he's catching it, thinking, then shooting, which is one of my biggest problems with basketball players in general. If you're going to catch it and you're going to shoot it. And be confident about it. And you can see that he's confident in the way that he's going to shoot it, but he's not in the way that he actually thinks it's going in, which is, one, he has to put in work, but two, is because of a problem that I think he has of not having an in-between game, like somebody like Trae Young, of not having a floater he can go to, not having like a good mid-range he could consistently go to. That's the problem, I think, with this game at this moment, is the in-between part. Because three-point shooting, that's tough. At the end of the day, that's not something that you're going to fix in a year, 2 years, or 3. That's something you have to just keep working on over time. But in between mid-range game, that's something you can install in a quick amount of not quick, but like 3 to 4 months personally. I believe.
Yeah. And it's just comfortability. I mean, I can guarantee you Scoot Henderson is working on his floater. Like, it's just how confident are you in that? How many opportunities are you getting in game-like situations to take that shot? And how many times have you seen it go in? I mean, for some dudes, like, they can shoot free throws at a 90% clip during practice and they step in the game and they can't hit them. And that could even be like, hey, like they're running a suicide and then shooting 2 free throws and run another suicide to simulate that game tiredness. But they still can't hit it. I like your point about the in-between game, because Scoot was a dude that until he got to the NBA was extremely used to being able to just blow by guys. And make help step up and not be guarded. Like, you couldn't guard him one-on-one, so his reads were easier. You know, if you're constantly blowing by guys, you don't really need to be on the lookout for like, oh, this dude back cut, or like this lob is going to be there. He's got to throw it and be confident. It's like, no, the play is obvious because the big had to step up to you. So it was just, oh, this guy's open, I'll just throw it. Or like this weak side help is creeping in because they're so scared of me blowing by my primary defender that I'll just whip that thing to the weak side corner and it's a 3. And it's just like when you don't have that, when there are better athletes, that is an area where like he didn't grow. He's not ready there because he never had to be until now.
It's a real shock for him.
It's like, I'm a nerd. And it's funny, my buddies listen to this podcast, so I'm going to be calling him out. But I play Overwatch, and all my friends got really good playing with me. I would hop on like a Smurf account with like lower elo and play with them. And they all got really good playing like one character, because they didn't really have to learn how to play other ones for us to win games. So they all learned how to play one character. Now we're at a rank where it's like, they're getting countered. They don't know how to beat it with that character, and they can't play any other characters at that level. And they didn't learn when players were bad enough for them to learn. Now it's like, nah, like you play another character, it's gonna be even worse than if you played the one that you're hitting your head against a brick wall. I don't know if that analogy is gonna hit for people, but it's like he never had to learn until now, and now he does, and it's like, oh shoot, I'm way behind on this skill, this ability.
See, thank you for saying behind. Is that's what it feels like coaching wise. And on this pod, people told me I love getting on coaches because that is something that people don't acknowledge enough, is that coaches do bad. And for great players, there's a lot of bad coaches. I will always get on this pod and say this, that Scoot Henderson has been coached horribly at the G League and the high school level because they did not see the clear issue that he had in that in-between game, but more or less in the reads he was making, is that you were telling him that, hey, if you can blow past, go up anyway. That's a problem. You're saying of like, oh, well, he can just now he was making easier reads because it was more obvious. It's like, yeah, but coaches were even making it even more simple for him and saying that, oh, just go up. And then the G League coach, I've seen this. He talked about it in the interview. They said, "Oh no, I told Scoot to try to get through contact." It's like, why would he be able to do that in the NBA? Why would he be able to do that against a dude like Miles Turner? Why would you tell him to go up on bigs? Terrible coaching. But Scoot, we're wishing the best for you, brother.
Scoot.
But
I'm still a believer. Still
a believer on this side too. Just got some room for improvement, my brother.
That was the good, the better, and the room for improvement. Our little take on the good, the bad, and the ugly. But now we're going to move on to Team of the Week. And I'm just going to go ahead and start us off because I got to give a big shout out to my own alma mater, Franciscan University, home of Barron basketball. Got to shout them out. They're my team of the week because they're 7-3, which I believe is the best start since my junior year. We actually Franciscan basketball historically has been pretty bad, but my freshman year we got a new coach, Coach Wallace. Shout out Coach Wallace, and he has turned the program around. We broke the record for wins in a season my junior year before Christmas. We won I think it was 7. The record was 7 wins.
That tells me something, I will say.
Yeah, since we became NCAA Division III. Because before that, we won the NAIA championship in the national championship in the 50s, which who cares? But either way, they're 7-3 right now. Big win against Allegheny College last night by 1 point. Shout out Sawyer Butler, walking bucket. He is averaging 20 points a game. Yep, Sawyer Butler. He's a sophomore, averaging 20 a game. He was newcomer of the year in the conference last year in the PAC, the President's Athletic Conference, but had to give some shine, man. Had to give some shine to the Barons. Shout out Coach Wallace.
Yes.
Sean Kirk, Adam Martello. Got it. The most Italian coaching staff in the world, by the way. Joe Wallace, which is doesn't sound that Italian, very Italian man. His children. Actually, I'm not saying his kid's name on a podcast. But our assistants, when I was there, were Anthony Santangelo, Adam Martello, John Pizzuti.
Jesus.
Yeah, okay. Dude, just the most Italian names ever.
Yeah, this is very
Ohio Valley is
very
Italian. But
shout
out the Barons.
Wow.
They got a Division I St. Francis University in Pennsylvania. Where I actually posted my career high in points per game my senior year, 4. Should have been 6. Yeah, clap it up for me. Scored 4 points against a Division I team.
There we go.
I should have been 6, man. I went 0 for 2 at the line. Back iron and then in and out. Absolutely tragic. But either way, that's my team of the week.
Yeah, no, I know you do good. I still talk about the time I scored 8 points against 3 5-stars. So,
dude, it's
I
mean, for anyone that played any sort of college basketball, if you played rotation minutes, good for you. You're probably a very, very good basketball player. Because I thought I was going to go walk onto this tiny Division III team and contribute right away. And granted, I got so much better at basketball over the course of those 4 years and learned a lot. And still at my peak, I was a fringe rotation guy. I could look around the conference and be on this team, I'd probably be playing rotation minutes. But man, dude, it's tough.
It's tough. It's tough stuff. That's why some people aren't going to understand, but even D3 is not in any way possibly easy. But I will say for mine, it won't be my alma mater because they're still bad. So it will be the Atlanta Hawks and how they are playing. Oh, yes. Clap it up for the Atlanta Hawks and how they are playing a great brand of basketball. We talked about Trae Young earlier, but overall the team with not getting that much better when it comes to roster movement got significantly better. And this is one of the things I talk about all the time is that sometimes you just need a cohesive team rather than star power. And it is beautiful to see because I need more examples of this in the NBA of just a good, cohesive basketball team that is just doing their thing. Hawks, I mean, I can't talk enough about them beating the Boston Celtics, the Cavs. And then, there's one other team that they beat in the West that's top flight. And I'm going to get mad at myself later.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I'm getting mad at myself, but they're doing a really good job over there. But Quinn Snyder, one of my favorite coaches, actually.
He's a genius.
He loves just being. He has that mind for basketball that I just love seeing.
Dude,
that's insane.
I'll never forget that clip on Old Man of the Three when JJ was still on there. And it was he had Tyrese Halliburton on. And it was they ran a Spain pick and roll, but the back screener, I think, rather than going to set the screen, just popped out to the wing, and it was like, I'm like, whoa, like it's simple, but it's like, well, let's just do this because this is where the open space is, and it's
and
I don't know.
And, actually, and the crazy thing is, I thought it was funny how JJ and Tyrese in that clip,
They were like, I saw that,
like
I saw that.
Yeah, and most basketball players just absolutely lost their mind at how like weird that is, but it makes perfect sense. And it's like, why did I never think about that? And like people in the comments like, why were they so excited? I'm like, bro, you don't understand.
Yeah,
that level of thinking, because the thing about basketball is that it's not that it's not built for creativity. It's just that some things are proven to work, so you do them, and you try to do them as much as you can. And for a coach to sit there and say, no, let's just pop that dude out to the wing. Instead of running that thing, slip right here, genius. That's a dude that actually thinks about the game. That's why I love him.
Yeah, he's not afraid to break rules. You know, I think coaches get caught up in like, these are our principles and this is what we do. It's like, you know what would be really good if your principles and what you do are just like whatever it takes to win, you know?
Boom.
And that part of that's personnel, you know, like it's like, oh, well, I'd love to play this way. I'd love to play in this very high IQ read and react way, but it's like, we just don't have the personnel for that. But and that changes by level. Once you get to the NBA, I mean, even the dumbest NBA player is still very basketball smart and basketball savvy.
Extremely. Kind of awesome. Have to. All right, but that's it for Team of the Week. We had a lot of fun with that. And shout out to Barron College. You know, go Barons. But I do want to get us right into our real hoop hours for this week. And it's been something that's been talked about a ton on a lot of different spaces, especially in the casual space of, is the NBA boring today? Or realistically, why there is a drop in the physical look of the NBA. And Nick, I want you to more or less explain how we got here.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's a good friend who I think is just really smart in basketball. He's played professionally overseas and has operated as a scout, an agent, skills trainer for NBA dudes. And like, he sent me this clip of BJ Armstrong saying that we've kind of stripped ourselves of the creativity of the game because everyone is playing the same way. Everyone, like NBA executives and decision makers and coaches, are saying that a 2-point shot is a bad shot unless it's a layup. And while I understand, like, that's just what it takes to win these days, at least for the majority of teams, that's just the way they're trying to play. It does kind of make things boring. And I heard it and I was like, yeah, I see what he's saying. But like, there's still like, I mean, the Celtics shoot a ton of threes, but to me, they're still fun to watch, you know, because they get a lot of good shots up. They get good threes. It's a lot of, you know, smart like ball movement and they get a domino to fall. And then it's that thing's popping around and pinging around and leads to a good shot. But that's not even always the case with the Celtics, nor is it with the rest of the league. And it really drilled me in the head when I was watching that Hawks-Knicks game with that terrible, terrible, terrible orange court. Can I say I hate the courts? I don't know. I'm sounding like such an old head right now.
Yeah, I like
the game
it,
isn't good, and I don't like the colored courts.
As much as somebody that does like it, I fully understand what people say they don't.
Like, why would you make an orange court when the ball is orange? I don't get it.
I liked it, the Pacers last year with the light blue, but orange,
it's too much.
I can get it's just too much.
You can make them different, like have an accented color on there, but the entire thing, like the main floor, like make the paint something cool, or the 3-point line is, you know, got something, I don't know, or like the logo in the middle is bigger, and maybe it kind of branches out further, like closer to but like I need the main court to just be like colored.
I think Oregon, I don't know if it's Oregon or Hawaii that put palm trees on their court. Yeah, they put palm trees.
Oregon has the trees. I hate that too. I think it's too much. I don't like it.
Oh, see that? Okay, see, I'm that's an old head take from you. We'll go ahead and put that on the board. That might be an old head take. We'll let you keep going.
But don't discredit everything I'm about to say or everything that we'll discuss here because there is something to it. So going back to, you know, everyone is trying to shoot a bunch of threes. I think that, locker room footage of Doc Rivers coming into the locker room said it all. And all these reports about like Doc Rivers is really starting to like come into form. And he walked in the locker room and after they won a game and said, we won the analytics battle. We shot more threes than them. And it's like at a surface level, that doesn't seem that bad. But BJ Armstrong, he said something that hit home. He's like, the creativity is being stripped from the game of basketball. And you saw it in that Knicks-Hawks game because it was in the fourth quarter. And it's funny, I saw it later on like this is one of the worst sequences of basketball I've ever seen type clip on Instagram of just like dudes running down the floor, taking the first, not even good, but like just quasi open, like they could get it off even and not get blocked three that they could. And just like back and forth turnovers, trying to pitch it ahead and get a quick look at three, just missed shots. And it's like, man, it wouldn't have gone that long in a pickup game. Like that sequence would have not have gone, like someone would have been like, yo, let's slow it down. We've taken 4 shots in the last 30 seconds on just our team. Like let's get a high screen and roll because it's pickup. It's like, how much can you really do? But like, let's just try to get something better than a pull up from deep, like with nothing before it. But that point about the creativity being stripped is really hitting home. And it's like, man, as I'm watching that, I was like, this is kind of boring. Like, this is just bad. Like, these are the best players in the world, but this is bad basketball. And it was hard to watch.
And the main thing that all the sports world is having right now is the analytics boom that happened where nerds started breaking down numbers and introducing it to sports. We're in the beginning stages of it taking over sports, and you see it in the NFL also. And coaches going for fourth downs unnecessarily for no reason, where it's just
shout out
you're
Dan
doing it. Oh yeah, shout out Dan Campbell. But last year, I forgot the coach's name, but Staley. Sorry, Staley. Brad Staley for the Chargers, where he notoriously, for the past 3 years, takes extremely bad opportunities at fourth downs. But the reason for that is because they didn't grow up with the analytics. It's because analytics are being thrown at them. And one of the things I'm trying to get to people is that get people to understand is that right now we're in the beginning of the coaches getting thrown to analytics, and we're getting into the era of coaches that are growing up with the analytics. So Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for Detroit Lions, I know it is a basketball podcast, but he's somebody that is very much into the analytics, but knows how to use it in combination with how we're supposed to feel about the game in general.
Context is so important,
right? And he uses that extra fourth down to set up certain plays. Versus in the NBA, you see like in a lot of times with Quinn Snyder, right? Reason why the Hawks are doing well overall is because they try to limit the amount of stretches they shoot just terrible threes. And just limiting bad threes makes you a significantly better team with a lot of coaches that are being thrown to analytics versus the ones that actually understand how to use it. And that's where I say the league does get boring, is the coaches that like Doc Rivers, who I know has zero creativity in the game of basketball in any way possible. So I know when he says analytics battle, he's dead ass just saying threes.
Yeah, he said we won the analytics battle. We shot more threes, and then like started clapping, and everyone's like, "Yeah, good job."
Yeah, and that's the thing is that a lot of coaches are just being told, "Hey, you had to get up more threes than mid-range shots. You had to get up a certain amount of threes to hit the efficiency like threshold." And then some of the coaches, like Joe Mazzulla, who yes, the Celtics shoot 63s, but you have to understand where those 63s are coming from. Yes, it's a ton. But he understands how to use the analytics, which is why I say the Boston Celtics, the team that shoots the most threes in the NBA, aren't boring at all to me. And like the Denver Nuggets, who I think at the middle of the pack to like lower pack in 3-point attempts, aren't boring in any way to me because they know how to get those threes. They know how to use the 3-point shot versus just chucking them up. The Charlotte Hornets, I watched the game from the other day. They have no clue how to use the 3-point line. absolutely no clue. They're just getting them up, and that's where it gets boring. Where it's like they're not even trying to be creative with how they score.
I think kind of what the secret ingredient to the sauce really is like good basketball. You when you watch basketball, you're like, whoa, this is good basketball. It usually happens when teams are taking what the defenses are giving them.
Exactly.
And then the defense starts taking something else away. So the other team just takes what they give them there. Because you always like in the NBA, it's not about, okay, what are we going to stop? What can we really like, what we got to lock everything down. It's like, no, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to be okay with? Because guys are going to hurt you. Like, guys are going to hit shots that you don't expect to hit shots. Like guys are going to have nights. Like they're all really good basketball players. Like what are you willing to roll the dice on? But some teams just take what the other defenses give them, and that's what they do. And they play. They'll just be like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. If we're going to do this, we're going to do this.
Exactly.
Really good teams and really good coaches make it impossible for you to not give them what they ultimately want. And I think the Celtics are the perfect example of that because they want to shoot a ton of threes. Okay. How are they going to get those threes? Well, they don't run a ton of action. They don't run a ton of crazy action, but they have a lot of guys, 2 guys in particular, that are really good at drawing two, of just making the defense collapse just a smidge. And once that defense starts collapsing, you get those like a little bit longer of a closeout. They have 5 guys on the floor that at all times can catch the ball and put it down and get into the paint and be a threat to score, pass, or, I mean, I guess that's it. Not dribble again once you pick your dribble up. But my point is that's a great example of a team saying, hey, we know that the analytics say we need to shoot a ton of threes. How can we make it impossible for teams to not let us shoot a ton of threes? And it's like, well, shooting a ton of threes is great, but what's worse than giving up a ton of threes is giving up a ton of layups. So if we can put pressure on the rim, that'll lead to a lot of threes. And they have 2 dudes who are extremely hard to guard. And then, even other guys like Derek White and Drew Holiday and Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis too, like that are threats that can be threats anywhere on the floor, especially around the rim. So they're going to get a ton of open looks because they're like, hey, if you're going to give us layups, we'll take layups all day. We will take layups all day, but you're not going to give us layups all day. Because if you give us layups all day, we're still going to win. But we're also cool with shooting. How many threes do they shoot a game?
Still stupid.
A ton. I can't find it on here. Either way.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying. My point is, like, the Nuggets take what teams give them. And the thing is, what they secretly want is just for Jokic to be a decision maker. That's their, like, the Celtics 3. The 3 ball is to the Celtics as the ball being in Jokic's hands is to the Nuggets. But I guess that's my point of, like, it's not like, hey, the analytics say we need to shoot more threes. Teams win when they shoot more threes, so we need to shoot more threes. It's like, okay, well, you're not that team. You don't have that personnel. You don't have 5 guys that can constantly drive closeouts and shoot the ball. Like you need to figure out what works best for your team. I think there are some teams that do that. The Nuggets are one of them. The Orlando Magic are another team that well, obviously while they realize
they're really fun to watch though.
They are
really fun.
Even without Paolo. And Franz has been awesome in that time, in the Paolo absence. But man, the Cavaliers are a great example of that as well. I mean, they shoot a lot of threes too, but just
the way
good coaches
get the threes. That's the point.
Good coaches find ways to make their squad work without needing to mimic what the rest of the league is doing. And I think there's probably less than 10 really good coaches in the NBA. And then there are a lot of dudes who are, one, scared to tell one guy he can't shoot, he shouldn't be shooting the ball 25 times a game because he's the best player on the team. Scared of ownership. And also just like scared to have an original idea, scared to try something that might not work, and to just go with the safest option, which is follow the analytics. But that was my rant. Yeah. I talked for so long.
Yes, and I will say that a lot of people complain about a lot of the coaches in the NBA are very young. And one of the things I say all the time is that, well, these young coaches are the only ones making basketball entertaining to you guys. Because the young coaches are the ones that grew up watching the early 2010s basketball of the catch it, sit for 10, 15 seconds, just having that dude jab and all that, and be like, hey, I want movement.
Mellow.
So that, just the mellow jab for 5, 6 seconds, right? They grew up watching that. They're like, okay, there's no way I can do this when I'm a coach, right? And the thing is, the one exception and the one person that people blame for this but don't understand why they blame for it is the dude that we have to meet a quota for every episode, Mike D'Antoni. People blame him and Steph Curry but don't understand what he meant. They take the message. It's like the Bible. They see the Bible, they read it, but they don't understand the message. Mike D'Antoni, when he wanted to get up 1,000,000 threes, never told y'all to shoot a 3 over 3 people on the fast break with 19 seconds left on the shot clock. Mike never said that. Mike never wanted that. Steph Curry never told y'all to shoot that shot.
So misunderstood, man.
It's not his fault. What happened is y'all took the message and y'all took the most bare bones part of it. And now all these coaches that, again, didn't grow up with the analytics, didn't grow up with this style of basketball, are just being uncreative. And they're just saying, okay, cool. If everybody's shooting a bunch of threes, let's just, hey, if you see a 3, shoot it. No, you're supposed to play offense. Again, that's why I say in the NBA, the reason why the NBA is boring per se is because about 19 to 18 of the teams in the league, I would say, play a very boring brand of basketball because they're just playing however the rest of the league is playing. But like the Utah Jazz, for example, a team that plays way better than they're supposed to because they understand how offense works. Will Hardy, I got to give it to him.
Genius.
Keep that man under contract as much as you possibly can. He understands offense. That right there is the point that we're trying to make, is that, yes, three-point shooting is bad per se. But what's really bad is when you get up terrible threes over and over and over and over, and you're missing clear opportunities at layups and even floaters and even mid-range shots because you're trying to get that 3. And that's what I say is that efficiency doesn't factor in IQ, just understanding the game. And one of the things that I actually think I think that we're right now in a bad spot, but in the future, in about 5 to 6 years, this is going to be golden basketball because what's going to happen right now is that we're noticing right now that there's a lot of bad coaching in the NBA. And what's going to happen is we're going to weed out a lot of that bad basketball. And a lot of these young coaches coming in, one, are going to be head coaches, and they're going to be having really good control over the teams. And we're going to see a really good era of really good basketball. And I fully believe this because I already see it in Will Hardy, already see in Joe Mazzulla, who people, again, complain they shoot too many threes. They get good threes.
Yeah.
And the bad threes they do get are in ISO positions. That's the other thing that people don't understand. Fast break threes are terrible.
Ooh,
they are
disagree.
So terrible.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
Let me get my off and I'm gonna let
Please,
you have it.
Finish.
Because I will always argue this point. Fast break threes in a situation where you have a point guard coming down and somebody's open in the corner after they drew 2 people. I'm fine with that. I will never sit there and say it's a bad pass. The pitch ahead 3 is my biggest pet peeve I have because, brother, you have the pitch ahead, you're going downhill, and you're stopping yourself to shoot a 3. And it always ends up in a situation where they have to stop their momentum and try to shoot 3 while slightly moving forward. Their mechanics sometimes get messed up. And it's like, why do y'all shoot these so many? So shoot so many of these so consistently. That's my problem in fast break threes. Regular offensive threes, never gonna have a problem with that. I'll let you have it because
I think it's situational. And I think I understand what you're saying. And I don't want your words to be misinterpreted. I think because I think we're on the same page.
Like D'Antoni.
The 3-on-2, there's a guy going that dove to the rim, ball handlers in the middle, guy on each wing. Somebody dove to the rim, or the dude with the ball put pressure on the rim, and everyone collapsed, and it kicks out, and it's just open, on balance, feet set.
Perfectly fine.
It's an open three. That's all it is.
Great three.
Even
Great three.
I'll say the pitch ahead to a good shooter, and maybe it's a one-on-one, no one's back yet, and there's a quick decision. It's either you get a good look at a three right away, you drive right into a take to the rim, with a dude standing right under the rim, obviously barring a big size mismatch of maybe a point guard going into a forward, that's a bad idea. But if it's a 6'9" forward and it's just TJ McConnell sitting under the rim, go up. But TJ might take a charge on you. But either way, I think it's extremely situational. I'm okay with hey, the pitch ahead and it's a quick decision and you're on balance and your feet are set and you're ready to shoot. Let it fly. An open three is an open three. I'm okay with good looks. Obviously, situation is important. If it's the fourth quarter and you haven't scored in 4 possessions, maybe let's pull that one out and get a good one.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. I think the NBA has gotten very, very transition three happy, and a lot of times it's it's quasi transition, and Luka dribbles it up slowly and then just pulls up from 27 feet. I'm just why?
Yeah,
why?
That's also
Drives
the
me
terrible.
nuts.
The 2-for-1 3 chucking also. My biggest old head point. I get the analytics. I get it's you want the 2-for-1, and this has always been a thing in basketball. But my God, I've seen some 2-for-1 threes where I remember I was watching the Nets, and it was 35 seconds, and they're screaming 2-for-1, right? So then Cam Johnson stops 2 feet from the half court line and was legit about to shoot it if somebody did not come up to guard him. And I was like, what? I was like, did he actually think about it? And he literally was in his motion and then saw somebody was closing out and was like, oh, let me pass this. I'm just like, no, we have to use our mind here.
For a 2-for-1, you gotta be ready. You gotta be prepared for that. It can't be shoot 2-for-1. There's 3 seconds before. No. 2-for-1 is hey, if we could get an okay look, you might as well shoot it, because if you don't shoot it, then will be our last possession. So you might as well shoot one now, because if you don't shoot it within the next 10 seconds, then we won't get another shot, because they're just going to hold for the last shot.
The Cavs have a 2-for-1 play. This is what I'm saying, guys, is that you could have a play ready. So they have a situation where their ball handlers come down the middle of the court. There's a screen going to the left side is usually what I see with Donovan and Darius. They go to the left side, and they're supposed to have a half of the court to be able to get a step back, right? I will never have a problem with that. There's a legit set that gave them space and led them to a situation where they can get themselves prepared to shoot a shot. That's their 2-for-1. But now, I don't watch every Cavs game, but I perceive every time I watch the Cavs, 2-for-1 situations, that's what they do. And I'm like, cool, that makes sense. Guys, we're being creative. We're making sense of this. Certain teams, about 8-9 of the teams in the league, which is a problem. Well, about 8-9 of the teams in the league I watch, I'm like, that's great basketball. That's fun basketball. That's exciting. But a lot of coaches in this league just need to get weeded out. A lot of these coaching staffs, we just need to kind of just push them on. And we need to go ahead and get into this new era that clearly some coaches are trying to introduce, but they don't understand. And it's a weird part, because again, that's why I say basketball right now is at a weird spot, and I think in about 5 years it's going to be in an amazing spot. Even with LeBron retiring, even with Steph and KD, that everybody getting close to retirement, is because we have coaches that do understand it. We have a good 8, 9 that do, and I bet you money, there's coaches in the college ranks or assistant coaches that are on benches right now.
Jamal Mosley,
assistants. Yeah, they
Magic head
understand
coach. He was a Mavs assistant for like 10 years,
and he understands it. But he's an assistant right now, so he doesn't have full control of everything.
Well, he's a head coach now. I'm just saying he was.
Yeah,
he was
exactly. I'm saying when he was in the Mavs. But then when he became a head coach of the Orlando Magic, then he's able to put in the ideas that he actually was able to use and see. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, in the future, it's gonna be better, guys. But for now,
disciple. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because Rick Carlisle is also another basketball mind godfather. Got to give him his credit. Him and D'Antoni, I always say, favorite minds possible. Now, Carlisle didn't know a damn thing about defense.
He doesn't care either. He just doesn't care at all.
But offensively, he had a mind, and he sat there and said, I'm going to use it to win basketball games, which is why you'll see. That's why coaches, have way more control over the game today than ever, because a good coach stands out way more in today's league to me. But I think at the moment, as basketball purists, it's frustrating to watch some of these coaches, but some of them I absolutely love.
Yeah, and I guess to close it out, I think sure it's boring at times now. There are bright spots, but to your point, I do think it comes down to there are a handful of good coaches who are, like I said, willing to take what teams give them. And then there are the copycat coaches who are like, well, they believe that correlation is causality. And that, like, I know for people that have never heard that before, that means that, hey, just because this happens when this thing is present, just because teams win when they shoot more threes, that doesn't mean that them shooting more threes is directly related to them winning all the time.
Come on, man. That's beautiful.
And yeah, and in the context of basketball, it doesn't mean that you should try to do that. But copycat coaches who want to keep their jobs, who are not confident, or maybe they just simply don't have the understanding and knowledge to be able to get their team to where they need to be, are just willing to do that. I don't know. I think coaches should get fired more often. I think basketball coaches, no offense, not coming for coaches' necks, We don't want to never have an NBA coach on this podcast, but I mean, look at the NBA, man.
You get fired more often.
You have 2 bad years. Look at the NFL. You have 2 bad years in the NFL.
Done.
You're fired.
Matt Eberflus. Well, he deserved it. Sorry.
Eberflus had, was it 2 or 3 years? I don't know, but
yeah, he had 2 years. He was done. He's out.
I feel like in the NBA, dude, I don't think Chauncey's a bad coach, but how long has he been in Portland? Is this year 4 or 5?
3.
Is this year 3? Maybe I'm wrong about Chauncey.
I think it was 3. I could very well be. I think it's 3. I'm pretty sure because he's pretty new, but I still don't believe he's changed anything about that team. No, but again, I'm a hold my tongue because I have more to say.
Well, that was a great conversation. That was a good segment.
Needed.
Let's get into therapy though. This is where we, of course, we release a little bit. We lay down on the therapist couch and we tell you about our problems because we're human beings too. People think podcasters aren't human beings. Guess what? We are. We're people too. We're not just some piece of meat for you to listen to. Okay.
There we go. Piece of meat.
I don't know where I was going with that.
Go ahead. No, you good. But I do actually have something to get off. I have a smoke lay. Something that I messed up. Easy situation. Well, it wasn't easy at all, but situation I messed up recently. This weekend, I coach basketball, by the way, for anybody that didn't know. I'm an assistant coach, help my father for rec games, right? So it's not something that I spend a million hours with. And thankfully this weekend, we play some games, and I get a text from a woman that very well got my heart in her hands. And she said she wanted to see me after I got done coaching, which is the worst decision you possibly ever can make as a man. Because after yelling for about a good 4 hours, then you had to go and have a whole
4
date
hours?
with a woman. It was in between there, I had to help other coaches because I have relationships with other coaches, so they asked
you're
me
hanging around. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, helping out, and I was on the bench, so I coached 2 extra games realistically in the day. Didn't get paid for them at all. So I then go and she texts me around 5 o'clock. She was like, "Hey, we still on?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was gonna be done around 7 o'clock." 7:30 comes around. I have to run back to the crib, change of clothes and everything like that. Put on my flyers fit I got, run out the crib, and then I get in my car. I drive to her place. We're about to go get something to eat, and then I tap my pockets. There's no wallet in there.
Oh,
so I'm like, oh wow, this is simply a terrible situation. Keep in mind, I'm already like 5-10 minutes away. So like, I was away. I could have drove back if I told her, but like, I'm not sure. I don't have much time in this situation. So then I was like, all right, I'll figure it out because I have like Apple Pay.
Yeah.
So like, all right, cool. I'll just use the Apple Pay. All right, no problem. So then we go to the date, and we're having a great time. We talking. My voice is dying, by the way. I mean, I don't know how I'm talking right now. Honestly, I have talking to her. I had a great situation. Then we get to paying and everything. And I was like, hey, do y'all have an electronic machine or something I can pay? They're like, oh yeah, cool. Get to the Apple Pay. Go to pay for the date. It says decline. And I'm like, oh wow. I was like, and obviously you have to go through the situational understanding, and when your card gets declined, you're like, hey, your machine work?
Yeah, there's steps. It's like the 7 steps of grief,
Yeah, it was like, and then you're like, I'm like, oh, I was like, let me just do it again. They're like, yeah, that happens all the time. I was like, all right, cool. I do it. I look away to act like I don't care. I was like, okay. What does it say? Yes, sir. It said declined again, loud as hell, mind you. He's like, yes, sir. It declined again.
So disrespectful.
See, I was like, okay, bro. I was like, all right, sir. You can keep it down. First off,
lower your voice. Treat me with some respect.
Please, for the love of God, let's do that first.
He could tell you're a podcaster. He didn't want to treat you like a human.
See, and then I went to the Apple Pay. And then I did the Apple Pay again, but I checked my main account to see what happened. The money got moved to my other card.
Oh.
So I had no money. And the other card I didn't have on the Apple Pay set up. So now I'm like, oh, Jesus. I forgot I moved that money earlier because I was going to use the other card tonight. So now I'm like, oh, man, this is what happens. Because I'm so used to just not having money, right? So I'm just so used to being broke. So I'm so used to not having things. Now that I have money, I'm like moving stuff around. Worst idea possible, Nick. Don't do that ever, because then I had to look to her and be like, hey, could you help me out this one time? And then she was like, huh? What happened? I was like, I just, something's wrong with my card. I had to,
something's up.
I said they turned it off. That's the best thing. She didn't believe me clearly, but then, I was just like, hey, they turned it off. Could you pay for it for me? And then thankfully, she's a lovely woman, so she did pay for it. She makes more money than me, so thankfully that wasn't a problem. I don't even know why I paid what was supposed to pay for the date now I think about it. But we weren't even gonna worry about that.
That's a good thing to do. Pay for the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's double. That's what I'm saying. This is double standards. We don't need to get on that conversation.
Once you get together, you can figure it out. If you end up like together, then you have those conversations. But
there we go.
Courting a woman, figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. You understand it. So he did. She
take her out for a picnic and with just food of things that you already had in your house. Free day. Free game.
Free game for everybody needs to know. And then we went, had she paid for it, went back, and just talked for a little bit. And then I got back at like 12 o'clock. Wallet was right next to the door. And,
of course it was.
Yeah. And thankfully, it was a smoke lay, but thankfully, I picked the right woman. So
there you go.
I've had a great time. Nick, what about
Perfect.
you, sir?
Yeah, mine. I got an offensive foul, and it's funny. I told him that like, hey, I'll like give me an hour and I'll be ready to record. I was cleaning my place up a little bit. I know you look behind me and see it doesn't look that clean, but there's a reason for that, and also a reason why I got on not an hour, but about an hour and a half after I said that I would be able to record. I was vacuuming. I picked up things off the floor and I started vacuuming, and I went to this corner. I'm a nerd. I've said this on this show already, like on today's episode, but I have a Nintendo Switch with a USB plug-in to plug in GameCube controllers because I love Super Smash Bros. And real Smash players know that you can't play with like the Joy-Cons or even like the Switch handheld controller. Like the Switch Pro controller. Like no, like OGs. Like I need a GameCube controller. It's the best controller ever created. For anyone who didn't know that is the truth. But I went to go pick that up off of the corner back where my TV is back there, and it was like there was like some weird oily like yellow stuff on it, and I was like, what the heck? And then I smelled it. My cat peed all over everything in that corner. All over it. I don't think it was once. I haven't played it in like a few months, so I think it was like it may have happened a few times, but oh my gosh. And if anyone owns a cat that has peed on something that they own, or even just like hardwood floors, it's like it's not like dog pee, it's not like liquid, it's like a oily like substance that you can't just like clean up, and like no, it takes like some scrubbing, and I had to not only clean off, like get out the Lysol all-purpose cleaner, and I used almost an entire roll of paper towels cleaning all this stuff off because like I'm not about to just like do a half-assed job on this. This is like, so I sprayed everything down multiple times, like wiped it. I'm scrubbing these little crevices, like GameCube controllers, even the Switch, like it's all kind of like there are a lot of nooks and crannies in there. So, oh Lord, have mercy! And now my cat's meowing as well. But I had to take care of my cat for a second. But I don't even know where I was at. I'm rattled right now. Someone just grabbed me by the face mask and just shook my face around. Either way, that took me so long, and I didn't get to clean up after that. Like I wanted to really go to town on my apartment, and no, didn't happen. Just cleaned cat piss off of like all of my belongings for like a good 45 minutes. So
Jesus.
Offensive foul on my cat.
Yeah, I'm about to say there's 1,000% on the cat.
Yeah, no review. Might be a flagrant too.
Yeah, same corner and everything is insane.
For real.
That's liable for eviction right there.
Dude, when I realized, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. You've got to. And I was like, oh, it's on everything. Oh my gosh, like the Switch, the dock, all the cables that were like the HDMI cable, the power cable, all the controllers, the little plug-in thing, like every single thing was just covered in like old cat piss. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I just
that is rough.
had to get to it.
I will say I only have a family cat. So he's over here every once in a while. He went and scratched my couch. I immediately sent his ass back home. So I got that luxury. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear about
I love my cat. It's a great companion, but stuff like this makes me just like almost wish you didn't exist. I said almost. Not I did.
Well, hold on.
I love him. I love my cat.
Okay. I'm about to say, can't say that too loud.
I'm going to love him till the day that he goes to the big litter box in the sky. But that's all I got for my therapy.
Well, I'm glad that we got that off our chest. And Nick, I'm sorry about your cat disrespecting your game console.
Yeah.
But,
shout out Fetty Wap.
Shout out Fetty.
That's his name. He's blind.
Yeah, I mean, also shout out the other Fetty Wap.
Yeah,
but
the fake one. My cat's the real Fetty Wap.
Fake one in your situation. Yeah. But I'll lead us right into our draft for this week. And this one is strictly NBA related. It is our rookie and sophomores draft. And this is not a future draft. This is if we were to play a game tomorrow, who do we want in a pickup like situation?
Totally.
And this one should be easy. And I will say, we probably won't have a coach, right, Nick?
Yeah. Now let's just take
regular starting five.
Let's just do starting 5 and 6-man.
Yep. We're gonna do starting 5, 1 through 5, 6-man. I think you had first pick last week, Nick.
I did. So it's all you.
Yes. So this week, man, this is a good pick. Let me go ahead and get Victor Wembanyama my first pick. I don't need to waste time. Yeah, I don't need to waste time. I couldn't choose anybody else. I'm sorry. Victor Wembanyama.
Distinction. Chet Holmgren is not available because he's not a sophomore. This is his third year in the NBA, and I don't want to hear it. Okay. Donovan Mitchell was Rookie of the Year, not Ben Simmons.
There we go. Our controversial take for this.
Yeah, for real. Something to make like 3 people really mad about.
Yeah, the 3 Ben Simmons fans. Well, like, all right,
Ben Simmons fans that are still left.
Yeah, I'll let you go ahead, Nick. But Victor Wembanyama, my first pick.
My first pick is actually going. I'm going back and forth between 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Derek Lively. Putting him at the 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It started off hot. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the center market after Chet Holmgren's taken off isn't amazing.
No.
So
there's some good young guys though that can do what you need him to. I think Derek Lively is like a top 5 center in the NBA right now. I should say as far as the run and jump guys go.
There you go.
Excluding the Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, if you count Giannis.
Yeah, run and jump. He's amazing as a run and jump. I will say.
And he gives you a little more. He gives you a little more too as a passer.
Yeah, good save right there.
God. No, that's what my brain was thinking, but it didn't come out of my mouth right.
You know what? I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Give me Derek.
For my next pick, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and get TikTok boy. I'm gonna get Jared McCain.
That's a good pick.
And I don't know if I want to put him at point guard or shooting guard. I'm actually gonna put him at the 2 because I have other plans. So I'm gonna go Jared McCain at the 2.
That's a good pick. I like McCain. I will go with the guy who was picked in the draft directly after Jared McCain. Give me Dalton Connect. The vanilla killer.
Yeah. There we go.
Also, I think is he currently favorite to win Rookie of the Year?
Jared. Oh no, because Jared towards meniscus, so it's probably Dalton or Jalen Wells. I think is up there too.
What?
Yeah, no. Jalen Wells. He was top 3 a little bit ago.
Hold on. I got to look at this right now.
Yeah, I'd say I actually think Jalen Wells is because you have to take Jeremy McCain off because he's not going to play the rest of the season.
Yeah. I think with that happening, I think Yves Missy,
really?
I think he's Cameroonian. He cracked the top 5.
I thought you said he was favorite.
No,
I
was
not favorite. My boy's just getting rebounds.
Okay, right now it's Stephon Castle is the favorite. Well, they got so it goes.
That makes sense.
This is the betting odds. This isn't like Kia rookie ladder. No, this is betting odds, which to me are the best way to look at it because these people have money in the game, so they're not trying to just get clicks. They're actually being like, who we really think is going to win it.
Yeah.
Steph Castle at 1, Dalton Connect. Well, Steph Castle plus 156, Dalton Connect at plus 600, Yves Missy at plus 375. So actually, it's better odds than Connect. Crazy. Risa Shea at 1,200, Edie at plus 3,000. Jalen Wells is plus 3,000 right now, same as Edie. And then after that, it gets Sar is plus 2,500, then it goes up Klingon at plus 10,000, and then Bub Carrington plus 6,000. See, these are kind of mixed and matched. There we go. Shout out Bub.
Yeah, shout out Bub.
But yes, has Steph Castle as the far and away favorite. I think he's kind of he's a little bit of the analytics golden boy that I thought Reed Shepherd was going to be. But yeah, I got Dalton to go along with Derek Lively right now.
Okay. All right. You know what? You go ahead. You did a good job on that, checking up on that because that was going to be one of my next picks. I will say for mine, now that I have Jared McCain and Victor Wembanyama, I will say we had a pretty good start.
That's a good duo.
I think we're doing pretty good there. But as I'm looking at this, I feel like there's no other dude I could pick but Bub Carrington for my point guard. I've talked about. I'm not gonna lie. I've talked about Bub Carrington on this show. I've talked about him on my TikTok. I've talked about him in real life. Y'all gonna learn that this man is an absolute bucket, but also can run a basketball team like a real floor general. Give me Bub Carrington at the 1. And as a Wizards fan, if I didn't, they would have burned this tape. So we're gonna go ahead and get Bub Carrington right there.
There you go. I'm at a crossroads here. I could take a young guy, or I could take a dude that's just kind of doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Stephon Castle at the 1.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Just get him. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to take Steph. I think he is the best all-around point guard of the rookies and the sophomores.
Okay. Don't say that.
You have some other guys, and there are other guys that are better than Steph at certain things, especially on the offensive end right now, like at a volume.
But all around defense, including
Stephon Castle is the best point guard of the two classes.
Yes, okay. I will say Bub has been rated as a top.
I like Bub. I thought about taking Bub. If you didn't take him, I might have taken him.
Yeah, well, I would have broke this computer if you would have took Bub. So I'm actually glad you let me have. But for my next pick, I realize I have 2 from this draft. Why not just switch it up? Go back to the sophomores, and I will say I'm. I kind of try not to be a Wizards homer right now.
Do your thing, bro.
Bilal Coulibaly at the 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's so good. Like I got now. I'm not trying to make this to watch the Wizards, but yes, Bilal Coulibaly at the 3.
Okay.
He is such a good defender, and he's getting better as offensive player.
I like Bilal.
But because
he's the prototypical 3-and-D. I want to say he shot it really well from 3 last year. I don't think I've looked at his numbers this year.
He shot actually way better than he was supposed to. Like everybody coming in was like, yeah, he's gonna be a bad 3-point shooter. And
yeah, well, he was. His rookie year. He was not great, and then
this year he's like 30s.
Is Bilal? I think Bilal's in year 3, dude. Bilal Coulibaly.
No, hold on. I think he was he's in year 2.
This is year 3. Hold on.
No, you got drafted with Wemby.
Did he?
Yeah, he got drafted with Wemby. Yeah, they left at the same time.
You're right.
Because they were on the same. They were on the same team. Yeah,
they're both French.
Yeah, I know my Wizards. All right,
so he shot. He didn't shoot it crazy from 3 last year. He shot 34%, and he's at 31 this year. Which,
that's what I'm saying. And the thing is, the shooting was to me the problem. But as a defender, as a passer, I love Bilal. So Bilal could be at the 3. I already know who I want at the 4. I just hope you don't take him. But
I'm going to take my 4-man right now. And I'm torn between 2 guys once again at the 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to hear if you take the other guy, but I'm gonna take GG Jackson. I'm gonna put him at the 4.
Oh, I love GG.
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Both of my guys that had mine were small ball 4s.
Yeah, I was really high on GG Jackson when in the draft last year. I was extremely high on him. I was so mad he got to the 2nd round. I'm glad he's doing well though.
Me too.
And
me too.
The Memphis Grizzlies, every young player does well over there. So
especially after last year, is like just opportunities to be had. I mean, they're just rolling out a literal G League team last year, like every game.
So everybody to have fun. And
Scottie Pippen Jr. has been great though. They've had a lot of guys that from that like squad, like maybe guys that get a ton of NBA reps get better faster. Crazy.
Side note: when playoff time comes around, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be a problem.
Yeah, if they're healthy. If they're healthy,
they're healthy. They have a ton of young players that are going to play.
Jay Huff boomed on somebody. You know how I feel about Jay Huff.
Jay Huff stock going up.
just quietly having a better year than Zach Edey.
Hey, we're not gonna talk about it. No, you
All
heard
right.
it here first.
Okay, so
but in my power forward.
Oh, go ahead.
My power forward. You kind of guess who I got. Jaime Jaquez.
That was my other guy. That's who I was deciding between him and Gigi.
Yeah, I love Jaime so much. And that's another dude I wasn't very high on the draft. That I didn't think his game exactly translated to the NBA well, but it did. So I'm the dumbass here, and now I'm picking him for my team. So Jaime Jaquez 1,000% is going to be my power forward here. Great mid-range shooter, good defender, smart player. Plug and play him easily.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes that
pretty good with this one.
Contributes to the mindset, the propaganda I love to push. Not propaganda, but just like ideology of like, maybe you should take the 3-4 year college player who really, really has like honed his craft and knows how to win and play winning basketball rather than the 18-year-old that's like 7 feet tall, but no one really knows what he can really do because he played in France for 3 years. I don't know. Either way,
I will say funny thing about that is that you have two players that kind of contradict that with Derek Lively and Dalton Connect.
Yeah,
where Derek Lively
sometimes
was better than expected.
Well, yeah, and Dalton Connect, Dalton Connect was a 4-year player?
He was a 4-year player, because he was at North Colorado for 3 years, I'm pretty sure. And then transferred to Tennessee, and that's where he averaged 20-something points per game.
Yeah. Either way. Okay, I like that pick for you. I like Jaime. So I have Steph Castle, Dalton Connect at the 3, Gigi at the 4, Derek Lively at the 5. I'm going to take Cason Wallace and put him at the 2. Shooter, defender, shot over 40% his rookie year. I believe he's shooting over 40% this year.
Yeah, just 3-and-D, perfect player.
That's what I need. That's what I need.
I think that's really good. I personally think as my team is built up, I got defenders at all 5 positions. I got Bub to run the team. I got Jared McCain for outside shooting. Also, I can call plays for Jared. I'm saying, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going stupid right now. So to go into my 6th man, there's only a few places I really want to go. And I'm actually kind of confused how this dude's made it so long. Brandon Miller off the bench.
That's going to be my 6th man. Dang it.
And I couldn't go any longer without having Brandon Miller on this team. I will say he was who I was going to pick for Bilal, but my brain told me, no, just go ahead and be a homer one time. But Brandon Miller is going to be my 6th man.
Okay, I like it. So I got a lot of guards.
You got,
and I have one
small ball team.
Yeah, and Gigi's big, but he's really more of he's a true 3, and he's a 3-4, but he's a 3.
I'm noticing, by the way, that these drafts that you're really just Will Hardy. That you're really just
4 out 1 in, man. I love it. I love dribble drive motion. I love 5 out too.
Y'all are just locked in here.
Yeah. Oh man. Let me
like he's trying to fight the urge to get another.
To take another guard. I really am. I really am, dude.
He's fighting the urge. I can see it in your face. You're like, I know we just brought this up, but I have to get another guard.
Okay. Grady Dick. Give me Grady Dick.
Oh, he's been so much better this year. I forgot about him.
He's been cooking.
I forgot about Grady.
Yeah,
That's a good
I was like,
pick, though.
I wanted to take like a big 4 who can play the 5 if needed, but I just didn't like anyone enough that I'm like,
okay,
screw it. Give me another dude to space things out.
Yeah,
capable of putting the ball on the floor, but shooter first.
Good passer, moves the ball around.
And Cason, oh my gosh, with Steph running the 1, Lively catching lobs from Steph Castle.
So Ashley, let me run through my team.
Okay, so that's my 6th man. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Yes. So then me 1 through 6. 1 through 5 is 6 man is Bub Carrington at the 1, Jared McCain at the 2, Bilal Coulibaly at the 3, Jaime Jaquez at the 4, and Victor Wembanyama at the 5, with Brandon Miller coming off the bench. Oh yeah.
I didn't think about who's going to guard. I guess Derek could do his best. Derek could guard Wemby.
Derek could do a good
He can
job.
move. He's not a slow-footed NBA big man. He moves well.
Yeah, Victor of today, he could guard Victor.
Yeah, he could guard him.
I think he'd be fine.
He could. I mean, Victor's going to be. He's going to be Wemby, but either way.
Yes.
All right, my squad. I got Steph Castle at the 1, Kaysen Wallace at the 2, Dalton Connect at the 3, GG Jackson at the 4, Derek Lively at the 5, and I got Grady Dick coming off the bench. I can't believe Grady.
Yeah.
You know, Grady, he's our 6th man. He's coming in to give us some juice,
Okay.
Run the show a little bit, have the ball in his hands a lot. Because he's got the ball in his hands a lot in Toronto this year.
Toronto's doing a good job of just getting their young dudes just touches. I will say Grady, great pick. Great save right there.
He slipped.
Other than that, I think I went stupid. I think
your team is good.
But good draft.
Yeah, good draft.
Well, that's enough for the draft. We had a great time. Just go ahead and put in your ballots for Key. He won that. But we won't, we'll talk about that on a different day. But
I like my team. I'm gonna coach him up.
Yeah, I say you got to really coach him.
We're running the Will Hardy triple drive.
Yes, I'm gonna do a lot. I'm just gonna do a Darvin Ham, have my hands in my pockets, and just have a play basketball. But to lead us out of the show, we do have our trivia to get us out of here. And I will start because Nick started off last week. But with my random trivia for this week, Nick, I know we talked about the Hawks earlier with DeAndre Hunter having the best year he's had. But I want to talk about his other Virginia mate, Ty Jerome.
Ooh.
And I wanted to ask you a very simple question. What was Ty Jerome's 3-point percentage his rookie year in Phoenix? Very simple question.
3-point percentage.
Yeah, not shots defended per game.
He barely played.
It was in between the G League, I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to go 33.7.
33.7?
Final answer.
That is very much incorrect, sir. Very much incorrect. And just for anybody who doesn't know, you need to get between a 0.1 decimal point to be able to get it correct. Ty Jerome shot 28% black.
I figured it wouldn't be good without volume. Rookie guy playing only garbage time. I figured it'd be low, but did not think it'd be that low.
28%, and he's actually shooting 47% this year. So Ty Jerome, big ups to you, brother. That's good stuff right there. But Ty Jerome, yes, he shot 28%. That baffled me. I always thought he was a good shooter, so I just assumed he was like in 35, but yeah, 28%.
Yeah,
which is tough to start off, but yes, you got that very much wrong.
Great
logic though.
We're gonna stay on the Hawks with mine. We're looking at this stat points from assists per game. So these are the guys that create the most points from their assists.
Just assists, not points.
Not PRF, not points responsible for. This is points from just their assists per game.
Okay.
Cade Cunningham is in third for this statistic.
Mm-hmm.
How many points does he create from his assists per game?
From assists, so not from passes.
Just from assists.
That doesn't factor in hockey assists. And he's third, so I'm guessing Trae Young is number 1.
He is.
Okay, so if I can gauge this correctly, the Cade is 8.9, I think, assists per game.
Okay.
So let's do some math here. Man, I feel like those analytic nerds right now.
You're Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover with all the equations. Like he's like, carry the 3.
So if he's about 9 assists per game, and then if everyone was a 3, then it'll be 27. So we have to kind of let's go 24.6 points per game.
Is that your final answer?
That's our final answer.
You are incorrect. But
yes.
The answer is 24.5.
Oh,
you were so close, dude. You were so close.
What?
For the record, for anyone who hasn't listened to every episode, we've never gotten one of these right. We figured that we're going to keep track the whole season, the whole like NBA season, and whoever, is winning, whoever loses will have to do like some sort of punishment. But that would have been a devastating 1-0 lead for him.
What?
24.5 is the answer.
I said 0.7.
You said 0.6. You said 0.6 too. You said 24.6. Wow, God, I feel like Donald Trump right now. You got clipped in the ear by a bullet, but we're still alive, baby. We're still alive.
All right, man. That's fine. That's
wild.
Oh man, you know what? End the show, man. Just go ahead. Let's get up out of here, man.
Well, folks, that is all we got for Real Hoop Hours today. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review, write a review if it's Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the YouTube, comment your favorite part of the show. Let us know who you think won the draft in the YouTube comments and the Spotify comments. Follow us on all social platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Real Hoop Hours Podcast.
Yes, man. What a run, dude.
Team's dead inside.
I'm hurt. But I will see y'all boys later. Y'all have a great one. Peace.
Oh, gosh, I can't believe it.